Okay, we are in the raised beds in front of our house. These are our herbs that I'm going to harvest. I have cilantro and dill and basil, catnip, tons of stuff that I can harvest. Okay, so this is my cilantro. It looks really beautiful. We had a really hard rain last night, so some of the stuff is laying over. So I figured I better get out here and get some of this cut and get it hanging to dry. So we have our herbs all cut, ready to go inside to dry. So what we have is dill. I did a lot of dill. I think I might have planted too much. But dill, cilantro. Some of my cilantro is trying to go to seed, so I'm glad that I got out here to cut that. We have basil and thyme and catnip and sage. So all the fun things. We're gonna go inside and I'll show you how I'm going to tie these up, and then I'm gonna dry them right inside our house. And so when they're dry, I will crush them and store them in jars. So it'll take some time before that happens, but I did want to get out here before they went to seed and clip them, because the more you clip herbs, the more they come back, the more they produce. And so I wanted to make sure that I got that done. So I'm using all the things that I spent the time and effort to plant. Now that we have all of our herbs from the herb garden in front of the house, I want to go grab the golf cart and run over to the garden, because we have a massive amount of blackberries growing over there, and we like tea, and so I want to harvest some of the blackberry leaves to to dry for tea. So the blackberries are back here by our well. They're actually growing in several areas on our property, but the ones I want to get today are back here by the well. Aren't they beautiful? So many stickers. Okay, here we go. We have all of our herbs. Look at all of that. So basically what I did was, I don't know anything about herbs. I know nothing about none of that. I just know that they taste good, and that I knew that I wanted to grow as many herbs as I could and get them in to dry. So my plan was, because we were really behind on starting our gardens, and so I decided get everything in that I wanted to grow, and then when you have that lull, it's like, so you work your butt off to get the garden in, and it's day after day after day of tilling and weeding and putting down weed fabric, all the things that you have to do to get the garden ready, just ready to be planted. And then you have to plant the garden. So what I figured was, okay, go ahead, buy all the packs of seeds for all the herbs that I wanted to grow. So that's what I did. I bought tons of packs of seeds and just got them in the ground. And I figured that when it's the lull time in the garden, when you've got everything planted, now you're busy watering, weeding if you need to, putting down nutrients, fertilizing your stuff, clipping things so that they stay producing, so that they keep producing for you, because the more you harvest, the more your plant is going to provide for you. I just thought that it would be a good idea, since I was already behind, to go ahead, plant all of the herbs, and then at the time when the garden was in that lull, when we had a minute to breathe, that I would go and start doing research on all these different herbs and make a profile sheet for each one, so I could look back on it, have it in my binder, and know exactly what it's used for, what it can be used for, and just go from there. I knew that I wanted to make some specialty teas, because Mark loves to drink tea, and so I love tea too, but I like black leaf tea. I think Earl Grey has a I don't know what it's called. It's in the one in the green pack. Is it Irish Breakfast? I don't remember. I'll look at it and see. But I wanted to make or have dried leaves that we could use for blackberry tea. And so these leaves are going to provide us some tea. So I'm going to rinse all this stuff off. I saw in several YouTube videos, people gather their herbs and they don't rinse them off. I don't understand that, because you can see here, that's dirty. So I'm not going to hang that up to dry, but I have seen where people just hang them up and they're not worried about, if they don't see a bug on them, they don't rinse them off. So I don't choose to do that. You choose to do what you like to do with yours. And this is just how I'm going to do mine. I'm going to rinse everything off. I'm going to dry it down good with paper towel. and then I'm going to bunch them and get them hung up. In our canning room, we already have a line run up by the ceiling, because that's where I will hang some of the specialty flowers that I want to make sure that I have for winter time, to make Christmas ornaments and, you know, flower arrangements or whatever. I want to make sure that I have some of the dried flowers in there that, you know, that I really like to use. And so I already have a line run. So all I have to do is prepare these and then get them hung up. And I'll show you how we're going to bunch them together, how we're going to hang them from the line, and how we're going to label them to make sure that we know exactly what each one is. Because right now, this big pile of green could be anything. But I do have it separated good, so hopefully I'll know exactly what it is. And right now they are so fragrant that I'm pretty sure if I'm questioning myself about which one is, I can just smell it and go from there. But let's get busy doing this. It's going to be interesting to see this first year how these herbs dry, and you know, how we process them and put them in our jars and all of that. It's going to be fun. So here you can see the line that Mark ran. It runs all the way across the room for drying. Now, like I said, I've used this for flowers, and now I'm going to be using it for these herbs, but that's okay because I have a ton of other ceiling space where I can run another, I can run more line if I need to dry some flowers or even some more herbs. But I don't know, because I've never grown herbs like this before, so we're gonna see how it turns out. I have our herbs washed, and they're just laid out to get the last little bit of water off them. This is oregano. We have sage, basil, dill, cilantro, catnip, and the blackberry leaves. So I'm going to take a paper towel and go around them a little bit to help with the water, but I am going to let them lay here for a little bit before I bunch them up to hang them, just to be sure that there isn't any extra water in them, you know, between the leaves or whatever. I just want to make sure that they're good and dry before I hang them up. I've had the herbs drying on the towel for about 2 hours. I went and got some rubber bands and a marker and some clothespins. So what I'm going to do is gather the herbs. This happens to be basil. I'm going to gather the herbs, put them together like this. This I'm going to make 2 bunches out of because I have a lot of it, and then just take the elastic and elastic around the ends, and then hold your finger in the elastic and put your clip in that piece of elastic, just like that. This is why you like to hold it with your elastic. Okay. Put your pin in the elastic just like that. And now we're going to take our marker and write on the clothespin what this is. And this is basil. So when I hang this up on the string, I know that that's basil. They all start to look the same. I'm noticing that the leaves, when you have them all piled up together, it's easy not to know what exactly what is. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'll do one more for you so you can see. We're going to gather up some dill. And of course there's a dog barking because it never fails. So I got it on there, holding out the piece with my finger, and then we stick it way up in there like that. Just like that. And then I'm gonna write on it what it is. And this will be nice too because I can use these clips next year when I plant my herb garden again. So it's not a waste. Okay, here we go. Let's get these bunched up. What I'm doing is taking the herbs and clipping them on the string with the name out so I can see what it is. And we'll hang these up to dry. Voila! So that's our end product of hanging our herbs to dry. So we'll check back every week, or yeah, about every week or so, and look to see how these are drying out and how the color's changing or how they're shrinking or whatever might be going on. I did read about the blackberry leaves while I was eating my breakfast that those may need to be fermented. So I'm going to do some more research on that, and then I'll let you know what I wind up doing with them. But I think it was very successful. You can see the names very clearly. They're hanging up there nice and tight on the line. And not only that, it smells so good. The smell is so good. And it looks very pretty. This is after 2 weeks of drying. How they look after 2 weeks of drying. So they've dried out a ton. But I haven't had any problems with mold or any of that. Thank goodness.